Good morning, everyone, and welcome to another post-cabinet press briefing. Today is February 5, I think, 2025. It feels like the year is going so quickly. And today we have some very special guests with us. We have the Honorable Desmond McKenzie, our Minister of Local Government and Community Development, and someone who sits beside me in cabinet and who I have so much esteem for, and is one of the most amazing ministers we have in our cabinet. So it's really good to have him here this morning for post-cabinet press briefing. We will also have the Honorable Robert Nesta Morgan, who is our Minister responsible for Works, with us. He is on his way here. We also have in our audience Dr. Kassan Troop, the Permanent Secretary in the Ministry of Education, Skills, Youth and Information, and also Marsha Henry Martin, the Permanent Secretary in the Ministry of Local Government and Community Development. There are also other members of the Ministry of Local Government and Community Development team. We also have members of the Ministry of Education here. We, as always, invite some students, and so we have students from the University of the West Indies, and I have to acknowledge our members of the media who are here, and the team from GIS and OPM, and any other specially invited guests who are here. Jamaicans watching at home and abroad, good morning to you all. I'm going to start with a few good news stories that we have to point out to the public. And the first one is the downward trend in murders continuing into this year. Jamaica's homicide figures since the start of this year show that the country is below its 2024 weekly average, as the murder toll now stands at 73. This is the lowest number of murders to start the year in recent times. Now, the 73 homicides recorded are 11 fewer, or a 13% decline when compared to a similar period in 2024, when 84 people were killed. So that is 11 fewer mothers who are in pain, families who are suffering. It is a big feat. And remember, last year's numbers were a decline from the previous year. And so we keep having these declines, and these are some of the things we have to celebrate. 73 is still too high, and we need to bring it down. But we are in so much of a better position than we have been in a long time. And the police high command has publicly said that it wants to keep the murder statistics under 1,000 in 2025. And all of Jamaica, we have to work together to ensure that we're able to meet that target, and each year keep bringing that number down. And we believe that that is possible because as at February 1, all other areas of serious crimes, including shootings, injured persons, rape, robbery, and break-ins, have declined. So all those other categories are also declining, and that's wonderful, and we have to say congratulations to the security forces on a job well done. In terms of JUTC launched two new routes, which are really very exciting to us. And the JUTC has announced the launch of a new weekday route, number 504, which will operate between Chapelton and Maypen in Clarendon, starting today, Wednesday, February 5. And last year, the Minister of Transport, the Honorable Darrell Vaz, had committed to extending JUTC service to areas like Maypen and some other areas too. And a few weeks ago, service also started from St. Thomas to Kingston, and you saw the excitement around that one. So this is another way that we're expanding our service. The new route will serve passengers traveling via Turners and New Longsville, offering a regular service operated from the Spanish Town depot. Commuters will benefit from an affordable fare structure of adults, $100 when using a smart fare card, and $150 when using cash. So, of course, get your smart card. It makes financial sense. Seniors and students will pay $50, and if you're using the smart card, it will be $150 in cash. So the introduction of Route 504 is a direct response to the needs of our commuters in Clarendon. We also introduced Route 52B on Monday, which is a new weekday service connecting Castleton Gardens in St. Mary to Halfway Tree. And effective Monday, Route 52B started operating 4 trips daily in each direction, and it made stops along Toms River, Temple Hall, and Golden Spring. And they have the departure times are available online, and these fees are very, very affordable. So students, children, and persons with disabilities, it's $20 using your Smart Fare card, $100 if you use cash. For seniors, it's $25, and for adults, it's $50 if you're using your Smart card. So again, we are expanding the service of JUTC, and of course, it's also very affordable. We understand the pain that a lot of our citizens are facing, especially with inflation, which is a global phenomenon. And this is how we are showing that we care in expanding the service and keeping the cost low. There's another one that I would bring up, which is in relation to healthcare. The Western Regional Health Authority has invested $340 million in digital X-ray units. 6 state-of-the-art X-ray units valued at $340 million are currently being installed at hospitals by the Western Regional Health Authority. And Minister Mackenzie is here. He's a part of the Cabinet Committee that approves these procurements, and I know he gladly approves procurements like this because it is important that we have the requisite equipment in our hospitals. And the new units are currently being placed at the Cornwall Regional Hospital in St. James. They're getting 2 units. The Falmouth Public General Hospital in Trelawney is also getting 2 units. The Savannah Lamar Public General Hospital in Westmoreland is getting 1 unit, and the Noel Holmes Hospital in Hanover is getting 1 unit. This will vastly improve the delivery of service in our health sector and is another demonstration of the government working to improve the quality and efficiency of our healthcare system. And we're very happy to have these. And one of the things that's really great to also see with these procurements is that they all come with service agreements. Minister Mackenzie is one who is always asking, where is the service contract? Because you don't want to buy all of this expensive equipment and then you have them break down and there's no way to service them. And so all of these new equipment have been purchased with that in mind. The last thing I'll point out is the donation from the Ministry of Agriculture in relation to Ebony Park. And the government has boosted the training and production capacity of the Ebony Park Heart Academy with the presentation of equipment, lots of equipment. These items include nets, solar lights, mobile water pumps, digital scales, oxygen scales, refractometers, fish baskets, fish water kits, cast nets, weed whackers, security cameras, and drones. This is a part of the government's effort led by Minister Floyd Green and also with the Ministry of Education and the Heart NSTA Trust to transform the fisheries teaching. So we're teaching people how to be good fisher folk and learning experience at Ebony Park by developing course materials based on industry best practice. The Ebony Park in Tollgate, Clarendon, is one of Jamaica's chief agricultural training institutions and is on a mission to ensure that all individuals working in various agriculture and hospitality sectors are certified to industry standards. And so I'll stop there. Again, as always, every Wednesday I have a ton of good news stories, but I have to pick a few of them to deliver. And so I'm going to move this morning to have our first guest come to speak to you. And, this morning it's 2 of the people in cabinet I talked to quite a lot throughout the meeting, right, gentlemen? And so first up this morning we have the Honorable Desmond Mackenzie, our Minister of Local Government and Community Development, the best Minister of Local Government we have ever had. And he is here to address you on a few matters. Please welcome Minister Mackenzie.
Thank you, Minister, colleague, my permanent secretary and other permanent secretaries, support staff from the Ministry of Local Government, members of the media, ladies and gentlemen, good morning. I want to address a number of issues that have put local government in the light over the last couple of weeks. And I first want to deal with the stalemate that presently exists at the Clarendon Municipal Corporation. I wish to provide an important update regarding the political leadership of the Clarendon Municipal Corporation following the local government by-election of November last year. As you all know, the by-election in the Anion Town Division on November the 22nd, 24 resulted in an overall tie in the number of councillors in the Clarendon Municipal Corporation, both political parties having the same number of councillors, 11 each. Since the by-election, there has been a contentious atmosphere existing in the Clarendon Municipal Corporation, where representatives from the People's National Party are insisting that the sitting mayor should resign or to be removed from his position and be replaced by one of their own, because their party won the Anion Town Division, and they are also claiming that in winning the Anion Town Division, they won the popular votes. The Labour Party refused to engage in that discussion, and based on the law, what they are asking for is not allowed. And I want to make it clear, based on the fact that since this controversy has derailed the last 3 meetings of the municipal corporation, I took the matter to a higher level and wrote to the Attorney General and to the Solicitor General for their input on this matter. The Attorney General has responded in a letter signed jointly by himself and the Solicitor General. And this is the advice of the Attorney General as it relates to the impasse at the Clarendon Municipal Corporation. On the subject whether the mayor can be removed because of a by-election result, the Attorney General and the Solicitor General have advised that Clause 32 of the Local Governance Act clearly lays out what happens when a tie occurs after a by-election. I wish to quote the response of these learned legal officers. Where there is a tie in the political representation following a by-election, the person who occupies the chair as chairperson before the by-election remains as the chairperson after the by-election. Additionally, Clause 19 of the Act states that the tenure of the chairperson of a municipal corporation lasts from one local government election to the next. The only way in which that chairperson can be removed between island-wide local government election is if a no-confident motion supported by the majority of all councillors in the municipality no sooner than 12 months after the date of the last local government election. So what the law is saying, that the mayor cannot be removed from office until 12 months after the date of the election. So the elections that was held, the mayor still occupies that position, and it means, therefore, that the action taken to remove any sitting mayor before February 26, 2025, if there's a no confidence motion, and this is the point, if there's a no confidence motion, and that motion has to come 1 year after. And I want to make it clear that this Local Governance Act was passed in the Parliament by the previous government. So they passed the act, and they are now trying to railroad the process in order to have the seat of power. With respect to the Clarendon Municipal Corporation, what this means in practice, therefore, is that the chairman of the municipal corporation is Worship the Mayor, Councillor Joel Williams continues as the mayor. The deputy mayor of the Clarendon Municipal Corporation, Councillor Clive Mundell, remain as the deputy mayor. With the legal position being clearly expressed, I'm expecting that the outbursts and the disruption of the Clarendon Municipal Corporation will come to an end, and that the needs of the people in their respective divisions will occupy the attention of all the councillors. I must however say that I'm disappointed about the manner in which this dispute in Clarendon has unfolded. The Local Governance Act is very clear, and those who have been undermining the normal functions of the corporation in pursuit of leadership change only have to read it or seek legal advice to see that their attempt has no basis in law. I have considered this matter along with the unprecedented and very disturbing conduct at the recent annual general meeting of ALGA last week Friday, where again the behavior of some councillors has brought local government into disrepute. I have written to the executive of ALGA J, inviting them to a meeting to state the position, because we cannot afford to allow an important institution as local government that offers service to the people of Jamaica be brought into disrepute over the position of offices which are not being contested in a legal way. I note with grave concern that over the last couple of months, certain mayors have been making some various attacks, especially on senior officers of municipal corporations, where persons were mobilized to come and demonstrate against the CEOs and other senior officials within local government. I want to say that this administration will ensure that we protect the fundamental rights and respect the roles of those who are administering the affairs of local government. I urge that this matter involving the Clarendon Municipal Corporation and the state of the administration, I hope that this will come to an end immediately, because the law does not provide. And let me go a little further. If after the 1 year there's a vote of no confidence against the mayor, it means that all the councillors will have the right to vote. And interestingly, the mayor, who sits as the chairman, has the right to a vote, and he also has the right to the casting vote. So that in itself answers the question. So if there comes a time when there's a vote of no confidence, nobody would expect that the person with the vote of no confidence is raised against will vote against himself. So I hope that we put an end to that level of misinformation and disruption which has plagued that municipality for the last 3.5 months. I want to turn now to the recent Auditor General's report as it relates to the Ministry of Local Government and the local authorities' social housing indigent program. I want to make it clear this morning that the functions of local government is vested in the Constitution of Jamaica. In Jamaica's Constitution, poor relief is written, and all the functions that we undertake in terms of our indigent housing program is vested by law. It is not something that this administration instituted in 2016. The difference in this administration is that we have lifted the standards of indigent housing that we provide to persons across the country. It is the responsibility of local government, and I want to make it clear that these programs apply to a set of individuals who are registered under the Poor Relief Act. Beneficiaries of those houses are registered, investigated by the Poor Relief Department, and once they meet the criteria under the Poor Relief Act, they are provided with an indigent housing solutions. The houses remains the property of the municipal corporations. So if someone dies, the municipality retains the right of the house, and it is passed on to someone who is in need. There is no duplication of the services provided by the Ministry of Local Government. The law is clear. It is our responsibility. Poor relief. And if you go back to when Sir Alexander Bustamante constructed across Jamaica something that was called pound a month. You go in sections of Trenchtown, you'll find those houses that were built for indigent persons, pound a month, 12 shilling. And those houses were built for the poor and the destitute under poor relief. I am concerned that individuals have used the comments of the Auditor General to try to discredit the program that has benefited hundreds of Jamaicans, hundreds of families across this country. What is disturbing, the last two houses that we handed over was in the constituency of the leader of the opposition. And there is a newspaper article raising concerns about an indigent house that was handed over and talking about sewage. Now, how do you link the handing over of an indigent house with an ongoing sewage system in Kingston that has been there for many years? What are you saying? Is that we took a decision to provide a house instead of correcting the sewage situation? That is not true. And the question I'm asking, why is it that persons are failing to acknowledge and to give credit to the government of Dr. Andrew Holness for the job that we have been doing in providing affordable houses for persons who, by law, and the Prime Minister have spoken about it, but the Prime Minister is the Minister of Housing, And under the Housing Act gives the Prime Minister the right to declare and to build any areas that he considers. And the Ministry of Local Government, we have conducted this exercise without any political consideration. Every single parish in Jamaica has benefited from our indigent housing programs. We continue to provide support to the councillors for indigents, to repair houses, to do all the things that are necessary. It is our responsibility. Poor relief is critical to Jamaica's survival. We continue to provide shelters for the homeless. We spend millions of dollars improving the facilities in our infirmaries, in our drop-in centers, in our night shelters. Every parish in Jamaica will have a night shelter where persons can go and get some comfort. These are initiatives that started under the government of Dr. Prime Minister Andrew Holness. And I take strong exception to anyone who question the right of the government to do what the government is elected to do. There are areas of the Auditor General's finding that we have taken into consideration, and we have considered the fact that the reporting mechanisms in some of the MCs have been lacking, and we have been working with the Auditor General's department to correct it, and we have made significant strides over the last couple of months to improve how we provide these information. So, ladies and gentlemen, I want to give the country the assurance that we are building these indigent houses because the law requires that we do so. It is the responsibility of local government. There are no duplications. Local government is clear, our responsibilities are clear, and I am proud that this administration has taken the bold step in providing housing solutions. We have some 20-odd houses presently under construction. 6 are in the pipeline to be handed over. And we have provided more money in last year's budget, and we are looking to provide more money in this year's budget to roll out an important feature of dealing with the poor in this country. I stand proud to say that we will defend and continue to provide reliable, indigent housing for those who are in need. I thank you.
Thank you very much, Minister, for clearing up all those matters. And I'm going to now hand over to Naomi. I see a number of students coming in. Welcome. Naomi, over to you.
Thank you, Minister. Good morning to you, and good morning to everyone here. Before I start with the questions, may I just offer condolences to a member of the media who lost his daughter as well here, who is here today. So condolences. Before, I think there are 2 questions, and yes, our students are here. Ms. Mackenzie, I saw online, we only have 1 representative, though we have members of the technical crew from media houses here. But online, there was a question concerning numbers. You know, how many people have benefited from indigent housing over the last year, if you have that to provide? Persons benefiting.
For this year? For this year, some 13 families have benefited so far for this year. We have completed a full slate of 13, and there is an additional 20 that is under construction. So some 13 families have benefited so far.
All right, thank you, Minister. I know Mahiri has a question. Mahiri?
Good morning. Ooh. Is on? Oh, my bad. Okay. Good morning, everybody. I'm Mahiri Stewart from Nationwide News. Question to Minister Morris Dixon. In terms of the ongoing situation regarding deportees, I know the Prime Minister said that there was something being put in place to handle the situation when the first arrival comes. But in terms of that, what steps are being taken to address the matter of Jamaicans being deported from America? Specifically, what kind of cross-ministerial collaboration can you cite is being undertaken to address the issue?
All right. Thank you for that question. And I'm going to answer it a bit broadly because last week the PM did speak about the matter of those that have been deported to Jamaica, and I will reiterate his comments, which is that obviously when any of those individuals are deported, we have to treat them with quite a lot of care. And we have to understand that they're not one homogeneous group. You have many individuals who may have left to try to make a better life for their families, and they were not involved in any criminal activity at all. And we have to be able to provide opportunities for them as they return. And then you also have those who may have been involved in criminal activities. And so you have to obviously have law enforcement be a part of that reintegration into Jamaica. And so that is very clear. In terms of interministerial work, we're working together and at Cabinet on Monday, since this is a post-Cabinet press briefing. On Monday at Cabinet, we decided that we would have an interministerial committee that's made up of several different ministries. I have one minister right beside me, the Minister of Local Government. Obviously, the Minister of Foreign Affairs and Foreign Trade would be very intimately a part of this. The Minister of Labor and Social Security would be a part of it. The Ministry of Education would also likewise, especially on the skills element of it, also be a part of that committee that would be empowered to look at how we treat with all of the elements. As government, we believe that there are some opportunities. Some individuals are coming back with good skills that we would want to integrate. Some we may need to do additional skills training for them. We may need to be looking at housing support or other support. And so we have a committee that has been empowered by Cabinet to meet and to work through these details. As that committee meets and actually has a position, we will definitely come back and let you know what the details are and what that plan ultimately looks like.
Thank you so much, Minister. I stand corrected. Kalisa is also here. Kalisa?
Good morning. Kalisha Williams here, Television Jamaica. Minister Mackenzie, you mentioned earlier about what happened at the ALGA meeting. Can you say whether or not there will be another meeting soon, sometime this week, to address especially the governance issues, and when will you be meeting with them as well?
Well, the decision on the meeting is vested in the executive of ALGA-J. I'm expecting to meet with ALGA-J next week to discuss the issues. I think there has to be some cooling off period. And what we are seeing happening is this fight for power. And it is not serving the interests of local government. It might serve personal interests, but not the overall benefit of local government. And I'm expecting to make it quite clear, because people might not know that the Local Governance Act gives the Minister of Local Government wide-ranging powers over the affairs, certain elements of local government. And if I am pushed to the limit, I will exercise those powers that is vested within the Minister of Local Government.
Thank you, Minister. I have a question from one of the youth representatives. Oh, geez, no, she's CVM, yes.
We also have Minister Morgan, and then we'll take more questions after.
Good morning.
Good
So a question
morning.
for you, Minister Dixon. So regarding the pause of the U.S. aid program, can you say whether or not that will affect any developments in the Ministry of Education, particularly?
All right, I'm going to speak as Minister of Information. I'm wearing the information hat in responding to the USAID matter. And obviously the USAID, AID, has been a real partner of Jamaica for a long time and continues to be. We see it as continuing to be a partner of Jamaica. And in the Ministry of Education, we have benefited over a long period of time from a lot of their support. And I had spoken to the PS, and we were looking at what programs were actually in train currently. And we had about 3 programs that were in train. PM and I did speak on it, and I remember him recalling the work that he did with USAID on literacy and how it was one of the best literacy programs we had developed in Jamaica. So USAID has definitely had impact in our country, and across many different ministries we've seen that be the case. And so obviously when we're looking at this matter, we have to recognize the sovereignty and the sovereign right of every country to make their decisions that suit them. And we respect the sovereign right of any other country that we interact with. And while PM has not made a statement on this yet, I expect him to make one later this week. But just noting that the Prime Minister has consistently spoken about economic resilience and us not being dependent on anyone. And that is important because as an independent country, we need to be able to stand on our own 2 feet. And very importantly, it's important that Jamaicans remember that there's nobody coming to our rescue. We have to be independent, and our Prime Minister has been saying this. And if you look at our economic policies, it has all been linked to that. So we wanted to have economic stability. We needed to take care of the economic debt because we understood that as an independent country, you have to be economically independent and be able to call your own shots. And even the new pivot strategy, which is all about economic growth, it's about economic independence. So as we see issues like this and maybe some disruption in some of the aid that we got, we also have to juxtapose it with what we've been doing over the last several years as a country to get our economy right and get us into a state where we can more declare economic independence. Again, nobody's coming to rescue us. And so when you see the work that we have done, and people say, oh, you know, it's just the economic stability, but there are still other issues. Yes, there are other issues, but these are important things, important things. Look at last year. When we had those rains and we had the hurricane, we were able to use our funds to fix back to schools, to be able to support our farmers, to be able to rebuild, to give all those persons that Minister Mackenzie would have worked on so hard to get the housing grants out. That was because of our economic independence, and we have to continue building that. So as I said, the Prime Minister will be speaking on this later this week, so expect a statement from him on USAID and other matters. But we also recognize in our government, and we have a very good Minister of Foreign Affairs in Kamina Johnson-Smith, and there's been long-term planning. We've been putting together our plans in terms of whether or not, countries may change their position on aid. And we've seen this in history before. We've seen changes in policies, especially with the EU. You would have remembered, the move from Lomé to Cotonou and all of those agreements. Those were changes and shifts in foreign aid policy. And so we've gone through this before. And so as a government, we are very much aware of the possibility of changes in foreign policy posture. And what we do is we plan for it. So we strategize, and you sit and you say, okay, if this happens, what does that mean for us? But we also believe that there are definitely arising opportunities. There are opportunities that may present themselves. Foreign aid is a tool of foreign policy. So we will work with our Minister of Foreign Affairs leading to look at where there are opportunities for Jamaica. And we remain a strong and reliable partner of the United States and all of our major trading partners. And that's not going to change. So that was a long answer, but that is USAID, and we will have much more to tell you as we look at the implications across our ministries in terms of the programs that have been put on hold.
Minister, thank you so much for making the link. I know we have some more questions, but given time,
Yes, I'll
we
go
can
to-
go to the next minister. And Minister Mackenzie, thank you so much for that history lesson earlier in your presentation. Very, very important. We understand the basis and the genesis of some of our housing programs. Minister.
Wonderful. Thank you. Thank you very much, Naomi, and thank you for those initial set of questions. I now have the pleasure to invite to speak to you now the Honorable Robert Nesta Morgan, who will be addressing you on two particular matters that are very important. The roadmaster himself, right?
I like your shoes.
I'll tell you about the shoes later.
We need the
Thank you.
camera to focus on your shoes. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Good morning, members of the media. Good morning, members of the public service. And my colleague in purple, I didn't know that you went to a purple school. They're all over the place, you know. They're so plentiful. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. So yesterday we would have made a presentation in Parliament outlining the first 3 work orders. Well, we outlined the first work order and announced plans for 2 more work orders for the Spark program. And I just wanted to give a little bit more information on these work orders and what are some of the things. But first I want to remind our viewers of what the Spark program represents and the implementation strategy that we are embarking on. So, as you would recall, the Constituency Development Fund, in association with the Ministry of Local Government, led by Minister Mackenzie, would have carried out consultations across all 63 constituencies. Some constituencies had more than 1 consultation, some had 3 was the maximum, some had 2 and some had 1, where residents and community leaders recommended roads to be included in the Spark program. So this was a consultative process. There were business people, there were civil society groups, there were community groups, members of the constabulary were there in many cases, parish councillors were there, members of parliament were there, and they recommended the roads. The MPs then, in consultation with the CDF, would have chosen 10 priority roads from the thousands of roads that were recommended in these meetings across the 63 constituencies. Upon receipt of these 10 roads from the Constituency Development Fund, the National Works Agency would have started a process of design and assessment of these roads. So we did rapid assessments of these roads to determine the preliminary costs, and the preliminary cost is what forms the basis of the budget that we're going to have to spend in these constituencies. After that, we would have started some detailed engineering designs of some of the roads that form the priority list. Last month, we would have engaged each member of parliament and asked them the question, out of these 10 roads, which 2 roads are the most important in your constituency? And thankfully, each member of parliament would have submitted 2 out of the 10. This is the basis of the roads that we are now starting. So only in a few cases, as the 2 roads that the MP recommended been included. So work order 1 begins now. Well, it has actually already begun, which includes 42 roads across 8 parishes. And we would have sent letters to all the municipal corporations, Minister Mackenzie, advising them of the roads, because the majority, all the roads that we're going to be repairing now are what you'd colloquially refer to as parish council roads. We have not started repairing any main roads. So we would have written to every single parish council. Before that, we would have also gazetted the roads. The roads were under a particular legislative distinction where they were owned by the parish council. In order for us at the National Works Agency to have the authority to fix these roads, we would have had to gazette these roads to come under the National Works Agency. That is something that we did. So we now have the legal authority to fix these roads, and we have written to the parish councils telling them that we're coming into these 8 parishes. We would have also yesterday delivered letters to every single member of parliament outlining the budget that they have gotten for their constituency, which is split into 2. You have every constituency getting a minimum of $200 million for road construction under Spark, and then they get an equity portion which is based on the length of roads that they would have in their constituency. An example, member Angela Brown-Burke's constituency has 72 kilometers of road. So her equity portion would be less than member Tova Hamilton in Trelawney, who has 750 odd kilometers of road, which is the largest road density in the island. So she would get a little bit more than, let's say, a member who has less road density. I also advised yesterday that Work Order 1, which is 42 roads in 21 constituencies, is the first of a series of work orders that will be announced in the coming weeks. So 21 constituencies have been assigned the first work order, which this work order was issued to China Harbour Engineering on the 31st of this month after a meeting at the National Works Agency. On the 14th of February, Work Order 2, which would include another 42 roads to another 21 constituencies, will be issued to China Harbour. And then on the 28th of February, the third work order will be issued to China Harbour, which will account for 126 roads and will cover all 63 constituencies. So by the end of February, all 63 constituencies will be assigned a minimum of 2 roads to be repaired under the Spark program. This is not the only amount of roads that will be repaired under Spark. We still have more work orders to come after these 3 work orders. Plus, we have about 63 main roads, Mullines Road and several other roads across the island, main roads, that are to come under Spark. I just wanted to clear that up because I know that there is some misunderstanding that Spark ends in June. No, Spark will be with us for a while as we have a lot of roads to fix. 630 roads were submitted by members of parliament. We will not be able to fix all 630 roads in this financial year, but we're going to fix as many as possible. Out of the 10, we expect some constituencies will get 9 roads, some will get 8, some will get 7, based on their budgets. But we are going to do everything we can to ensure that we fix at minimum the 10 roads that were recommended over the next several months. The other thing I wanted to mention is the issue of communication came up in our discussions yesterday. Before Spark, the first Spark Road was launched, that is Harbour Heights, we launched the sparkjamaica.gov.jm website, and we pledged to put as much information on that website as possible. It has all the roads that are approved, the 10 roads from each constituency. It has the governance framework. It has several other documents that can assist the public with information. We're going to be placing the schedule of these roads on the website as well. So those who are able to visit the website can visit the website. We also launched our social media pages where you can go to Ask Spark Jamaica on the Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok to get information, and you can send private messages via these mediums to get questions. We'll also be doing radio programs and radio ads as well to inform the public more. And additionally, whenever a road is going to be repaired in a community, the National Works Agency and the contractor has an obligation to engage the community before work commences and also engage the members of parliament to get liaison officers who can act as an intermediary between the contractor and the community. So we are not doing anything under the cover of secrecy or darkness. We're very open And I want to state clearly that this program has no hint of politics in it. Every single constituency is being given an opportunity to get roads from an equity perspective. There is no politician who is determined you get this road and you don't get this road. We have a formula that is very transparent. Based on the length of road in your constituency, we, Prime Minister, would have asked the Ministry of Economic Growth and Job Creation to go into the field and look at every road in Jamaica and measure every road and determine who owns which road. We've so far found out that Jamaica has over 27,000 kilometers of road in Jamaica. NWA is responsible for 5,000. There's another set that is private roads. There are a set that have not been assigned to anyone. There's another set that is belonging to the parish council. But in this phase of Spark, we are focused on community roads, which are roads which would colloquially be referred to as parish council roads. The other discussion that we had yesterday, and I don't think I need to spend long on it, is that we have launched a accelerated bridge program. The reason why I want to raise this here today again, because I did speak about it last week, is that the accelerated bridge program is not the final bridge program or the only bridge program that will exist in Jamaica. It is an enhanced program to deal with some of the most critical bridges through a partnership between Jamaica and the UK government. The National Works Agency still has an obligation to repair bridges. The National Works Agency still has a budget annually for bridge repair. The National Works Agency has an obligation to assess a percentage of our 800 bridges annually and submit to the government the state and standard of these bridges to see how we can program their repair over time. So persons who were concerned that their bridge was not in the list of 50 can have some reassurance that this is not the only bridge program. There are some bridges that are in the system being designed, assessments are being done on them, and they will be repaired eventually. This is just one bridge program, a very important program that will give us a bump in the speed at which we can repair bridges. But it's not the only bridge program, and announcements will follow, I'm sure, when the Prime Minister speaks in his budget presentation about a wider infrastructure program that he's developing to address some of the critical challenges that we face as a nation. The last point I want to make is that this government has made the most significant investment in road infrastructure since independence. The facts are clear. No other administration has ever made a decision to spend $45 billion over a 2-budget cycle period on community roads. These are roads that you and I live on. These are the roads that we traverse on a daily basis. Not only that, we're also making the most significant investment in the interconnectivity between different sections of our country. We're talking about the South Coast Highway Improvement Project, which has put St. Thomas on the map. No longer are people saying they don't know where St. Thomas is, or St. Thomas is a forgotten parish. St. Thomas is now one of the more memorable parishes. And I see Permanent Secretary from the Ministry of Local Government who recently purchased land in St. Thomas. We're doing the perimeter road in St. James. One of the most significant developments in St. James in a very long time to really give assistance to persons in St. James who have been suffering from the traffic jams for many years. We're doing the Long Hill bypass. Prime Minister is also looking at the Lucy bypass. We're also looking at the Port Antonio bypass. We're also looking at the Spurtree Hill bypass. These are the most significant infrastructural developments that have taken place. It carries on the legacy, Minister Mackenzie, as you would have reminded me, of announcements made by the Minister of Development in the 1960s to create a highway network across Jamaica. Minister of Development at the time was the Most Honorable Edward Seaga. So this is not new to us as a government. Our legacy of development as a government is chronicled in the history books of Jamaica. And Prime Minister Andrew Holness carries on this legacy proudly, building infrastructure for the people of Jamaica. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen.
Thank you so much, Minister I was going to call you Mackenzie Morgan. Let's see, are there questions about all this fantastic road and bridge work being done at a historic pace in our country? Any questions?
Indeed.
Naomi, over to you.
There is one from Kalisha on that side. And just to reiterate, too, that infrastructure equals, as the Prime Minister's mantra is this year, productivity, peace, and prosperity. That has a direct link there as well. Kalisha.
Thank you again, Naomi. Kalisha Williams here, Television Jamaica. So I actually have 3 questions. So the first one has to do with SPARK, the SPARK program. What role did councillors play during the consultations? Because I conducted an interview with Dr. Kurt Wall over in St. Catherine, and he's saying that he was asked to make a list of roads that would be a part of the SPARK program, and none of those roads are on the list. That's one. And can you give me an update on the work that's happening at the Troy Bridge on the Trelawney-Manchester border, as well as Maglashen in rural St. Andrew? There was a breakaway in November. I know the NAA was doing some assessment there in terms of what are the plans to fix the road.
Okay, so
Thank you.
every single road that is being repaired under SPARK are Parish Council roads. These are not roads that belong to the National Works Agency traditionally. The consultative process was very transparent. The Constituency Development Fund, along with the Social Development Commission, right, Minister Mackenzie, would have engaged every single stakeholder, important stakeholder, members of the community, community groups, youth clubs, neighborhood watches, the police, business people, councillors, members of parliament. They all sat in a room and they all offered roads to the convener, which is the CDF, of these meetings. The National Works Agency was there to provide support. It is a bit challenging for me to appreciate that though the 126 roads that are in this initial stage, work order 1, 2, and 3, are parish council roads, that there are some parish councillors who are saying that parish council roads are not being considered. We will not be able to fix every road in Jamaica. As I said to you, 27,000 kilometers of roads, 630 roads being submitted. $45 billion cannot fix 630 roads. We have taken out some of the priority roads from the constituency. I want to assure Councillor Wall that though his personal choices may not be reflected in the list, the choices of the community are reflected in the list. It is not, I as a member of parliament could not tell the NWA fix this road because the people came to the meeting and told the NWA and the CDF the roads that they wanted to fix. It wasn't an individual. The Prime Minister did not go and say, we are going to fix this road. It's the people in the communities who decided, not politicians. Yep. So I assure all the politicians, this is for the people, not for us. It's for them. The second point is Troy Bridge. Troy Bridge is about 45% complete. I don't know if you're aware, but we actually built a footbridge. So while there is not vehicular access to traverse the two parishes, Trelawney and Manchester, foot access is now there. So people can carry their farm produce between. And the engineer is actually, I got a report last week on it, 45%. They have already embedded the piles. They are now capping the piles to put on the upper structure of the bridge. The work to look at the Maglashen breakaway continues. As you know, it's a significant breakaway, and it's going to require some time to look at whether or not we need to move it or we need to design something as a solution there. And the NWA carries on that work. I will seek more updates for you today. You can reach out to me for that. Any other questions?
I don't believe there are any other questions from the floor.
Wonderful.
Going once, going twice, and 3 times. I think that's it, Minister.
Thank you very much, Naomi. Thank you very
Wonderful.
much, Minister. And thanks
Thank
to
you.
you, everyone, for accommodating me. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Thank you very much, Minister Morgan, and thanks to our members of the media for all of your questions today. And while Minister Morgan was speaking, I went on the Spark website and I looked at my constituency that I live in, and some of my roads aren't on there, but I missed the consultation meeting. I had something that night, and so it's my fault that my road isn't on there, and my road needed some repair. But it's okay. This is the nature of things. All of them can't be fixed, but there was community consultation, and there's so much transparency here where you can go on and see which ones were actually selected. And so there's a lot of work to come, and we're very excited about the road work taking place across Jamaica. As I end, Minister Morgan pointed to the fact that I was not wearing my usual shoes. I was wearing sneakers, and it is because today is the Global Day of Play. And so when I leave here, I'm going downtown to play with some children. And play is absolutely important for children. Too often I hear parents say they've pulled their children from extracurricular activities because of an exam coming up. That's not right. Our children, their brains develop through play. Play is absolutely critical for our children. And so today is that Global Day of Play. I'm going to go play with them, and I encourage all our parents across Jamaica to see the value of play. Our children learn so much through play. They learn how to share, they learn teamwork, they learn a lot of values and resilience. So let's encourage our children to play while also learning. And so, as always, I say to you, thank you for tuning in to our post-cabinet press briefing, and we will see you next week. God bless this wonderful country that we love so dearly. Bye-bye.